For our next eco experiment, we'll be doing something in the spirit of Nicola Brown, who you can find on YouTube. She is a wacky little witch lady who doesn't like to use powdered mordants. She likes to use her pot as a mordant or using a dirty pot dyeing method. And we're going to kind of do a simulated version of that because I don't have a cauldron the size of a car, nor do I have a jet boil burner for boiling like giant boiled peanut pots or brewing. I don't have that. So I'm going to make my own dirty pot. Normal dirty pot dyeing, you would do mordantless and you're trying to eco print from leaves and stuff. So I'm going to have pre-mordanted fabric so I don't have to boil this pot as violently. Generally, you would throw a bunch of tannin-rich anythings in there. That could be eucalyptus leaves, that could be oak leaves, that could be, in this case, loquat leaves, because I won't give it up. And then you would throw in a big rusty object. You don't have to be picky about what's rusty, but I'm going to use ferrous sulfate and just throw a healthy sprinkling of iron in there. And we're going to call this our dirty pot because I've dipped a bunch of stuff in here. Other stuff has been dipped in here. We steamed some stuff in here. And then I'm going to roll up some small leaf prints and throw them on in and see if we can get some prints out of it. So the iron will actually be in the dye bath. And I'm going to use loquat mordanted fabric. And I'm going to use all the other mordanted fabrics and see what we get. So this should be fun. And I will get to use my new dowels, which my husband very helpfully trimmed so they would fit in this pot for me. I realize now I had him trim them to fit in a different pot, but we're using this pot now. We're going to use the other pot later, so it all works out. All right, let's start rolling. My crows were so confused by me collecting all this crap that the whole time I was walking to the mailbox and back looking for stuff, they circled me, cawing and talking to me. So I'm sure that has helped the neighbors think I'm not weird. Hey, before I get rolling, I'm going to pretty much just separate these by type so we can see how each one prints. So there's something somewhat scientific to it. I might put the grasses together, but I just kind of wander around the neighborhood and found old and new growth of stuff to see how it prints and see what we get from it. So I'm going to start rolling these up and get them ready for the dirty pot bath style. Okay, so here's the first one I'm going to roll up. It is loquat on loquat leaf. So I thought that would be kind of funny. So I've got some facing up and some facing down as they will print differently depending on how they're pushed in. So we're doing an experiment, so I've got about 50-50 so we can see what the do and does. I also have all the way from mostly dead to mostly green for samples. Okay, so I'm preheating the dye bath. This is what our fibers are going to look like when they're all rolled up. This is the loquat one. I put an extra layer of plastic around the outside so that it will not show as many of the crinkly lines like last time. It was much easier to roll up on a dowel, let me tell you. Anyway, when you do the dirty pot method, typically you're not using mordants. We have all kinds of mordants. We're trying them all. So it's going to uptake the color and changes more easily than it would have. And in Nicola's videos, she has that thing at a frickin' boil to get it going. So we don't need to do that. So I'm going to get it up to where we had them yesterday, steaming. Because I think that will be sufficient, and I did not wrap it so tightly that nothing can get in. So lesson learned there. I'm going to wrap up the other ones while this is heating, and then try to keep it around 190 or so. So more wrapping. Be right back. Hey, I have my beautiful little sausage rolls, and I'm going to check the temperature on our bath, and it is actually a little under, so I can heat that up a little bit. But because I've never done a dirty bath method, this might turn all of this completely black and be a complete catastrophic failure. And I'm still going to show you because it's not failure, it's data collection. We will know that loquat has way too strong of a tannin to be used in a dirty pot. And we have to use something more lightly tannined, like eucalyptus. I did water this down a whole bunch, and I watered it down with some hard water to see what would happen, because the lady's just using anything that like rains or pours into her cauldron, so we're just going with it. But I'm going to put them in. I'm going to start it at, ooh, I'm so scared. I'm going to start it at a half an hour and come back and check them. I don't think they need to go for 2 hours if they have mordant in them. Okay, we're scared, but we're doing it. Goodbye, fancy cotton. Oh, God. Oh, it's getting in there. Well, I didn't tie him too tight. Okay. Everybody in the bathtub. Wonder what I'm supposed to hold these down with. A rock? I don't know, the lady probably puts rocks in her dye bath. She's a nut burger. Okay. And away we go. Good luck, my children. Good luck to you. Stir yourselves, please. Ooh, they look like weird little mystical scrolls. Okay, bye. Okay, so these have been going for about 45 minutes, I would say. Some of them have clearly had some reaction. Some of them have not. Like this one. What are you doing in there? Did I really tie it that tight again? For God's sake. Is that even possible? Well, anyway. I think I'm going to pull a couple of these because they look like they've had some very, very strong reactions in there to me. So I might pull at least a couple of these and just like look at how dark the ends are on this guy. This one is nearly, oh, where'd he go? There's a big one that's almost black on the ends. This one. Look at that. That's definitely a reaction. So a couple of these I think are probably done. I'm going to pull those ones that look more done than the rest and leave the others for maybe a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to call it, and we'll let them cool down fully and see what magical prints we have maybe produced or not, because it could go terribly wrong. Who knows? Okay, bye. Alrighty. Hello, everyone. We've reached the stage where we unbundle the stink pots that we hath created. I'm a little nervous. I've never done this before. And I realized after the fact that Nicola was telling people to do this primarily onto wool, not onto cotton. And she said she hates cotton, was midway through the live stream chat that I watched with her. So she disapproves of my methods. Sorry, Nicola. I was experimenting, as one does. So I have it written down in my little notebook here, which one is which, so we will know, and which one was mordanted with what. I'm going to try and save the cordage. No reason to waste that. Okay, so I don't know what this is anymore because it's changed. Okay, again, good job. We didn't melt the plastic. That's for sure. And let's see what we got. Oh, that was an extra wrapper, it looks like. So this might be the first one. Okay, this is loquat on loquat. It may have just turned completely black. Who knows? Let's see. Loquat leaf. Not much happening. Oh, but there's some print happening. There's some leaf shapes. This, I was not confident this would work because it's already in a bath of tannins made out of loquat, and it was fabric dyed with a loquat, so it just might not have been able to onboard any more dye. Oh, see, there's a pretty leaf. There's a cool leaf. Okay, so the older leaves, thank God this one doesn't smell as bad, or at least I'm used to the smell. Take your pick. Okay, so it looks like the older the leaf, the better. And this is on fancy cotton, which didn't really take dye as well as I thought it would. But you can see there is, in fact, a loquat leaf print. So we did get a print. And there's some little bits of print up in this area. Will that stay after washing? No idea. But that was good data. So putting loquat into loquat, maybe not my best plan, which means a lot of these might be weird. But look at how black this one turned. The iron really blackens everything. And it can also make your pot dangerous to your fibers. Luckily, most things don't kill cotton. They're pretty sturdy, especially the cheap muslins I'm using, because it's what I had. Okay, so we did our loquat leaf. Let's see. This one still has some color showing, so perhaps we'll have more of a print. Okay, so this is our grasses. Who knows if grasses will print? Well, they made some shapes. Okay. What we're doing is we're learning what prints. And apparently these don't print very well, but look at the cool pattern we got. That's pretty fun. And it turned it kind of an interesting red color. Trying to get all these foxtails out of the fabric before they go into my hand or into one of the cats. I'm sure any of you with pets are very familiar with these fun grass foxtails. Okay, another foxtail. So it doesn't look like the grassy California ryegrasses and stuff do much of anything except make something of a resist and give us a cool pattern. So also good to note, won't use those again unless I want this kind of fun, hairy texture. Ugh, probably won't do that again just because it's stupid cleanup. Ooh. What was I thinking? Erica, sometimes your experiments are like predictably a bad idea and you could have eliminated that possibility from the start. Let's open it over this. That might be a smarter plan. Open it over the trash pile. Oh yeah, that was a much better idea. Okay, plastic. More plastic. Okay, well, while it's technically not a print of the grass, what it is pretty cool. And we did get some color off of that. And boy, did it blacken the tannins in that loquat. It really reacted. Well, that is weird. Can't say it's what I expected. Don't know that it's a print, but it did a texture. Alrighty. Number 3, I think this one was also on loquat, so that does not give me high hopes. But I did use some stuff that I think is slightly more tannin rich. Ugh, I'm dealing with that grass forever. It's like glitter. Never get it out of your house. Okay. Sorry for the brief pause. There was a cat attack. Okay, so this one's on loquat, and loquat on loquat didn't print super well before, as we saw. But this was with the eucalyptus, which we know has a really reactive tannin. So let us hope. Aha, see? We got more of the fun iron printing. All right, so far, I'm still wrapping them too tight, is what we are learning. It's possible that this fabric had already just absorbed too many tannins. There's just no room left in the fabric to take on more leaf tannins. And yet we still got some up here. And those teeny tiny baby leaves are where this like wonderful lime green hides. It's so interesting. So again, I think that having it pre-mordanted in loquat, it was just too strong, but we did get some cool leaf prints, and that's definitely a crazy looking texture for sure. So still, I am just wrapping it too tight. It can't get in there. And also, I think it was just already too tannin dyed. It only really was able to print where it made super good contact with the iron. So again, I need to wrap things less tightly. Okay, I think I did 3 on the loquat mordanted stuff. So I will consider those dyed now, and I will probably just use them as fabric and launder them, since I am not going to consider them tanned at this point. They have taken on just about all the dye that they possibly can, I think. So I think this last one might be a pepper tree. Ooh, yep, it's a pepper tree. Yeah, again, I think, I don't even know what that was. Goop. I think that I just quite literally had too much. I'm not sure what that white goop is from the flowers. It already had absorbed just way too much color. So we've made some very fun tie-dye. And that's the thing about eco printing. It just, you can't predict it. So now I have some really wacky stuff to print on. This one turned completely black on the outside, which scares me a little. And we'll know more later when I remember what everything was mordanted in. But this one reacted so strongly, it turned completely black. Meanwhile, the other one didn't change color at all. Both done on fancy cotton. So riddle me that. Okay, we have nearly pitch black fabric. Wow. Oh, this is the little maple leaf one. I actually had high hopes for this. Come on, buddy. Give us a leaf. Give us a leaf print. Well, it's much prettier, that's for sure. Oh, I see leaves. I see tiny leaves. Wow. Oh, look at that stick. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. We're not complete messes. We picked one of the, okay, so it's not like no one told me that obviously maple leaves would do better than other things. That information is readily available. My access to all of those things is not readily available, but that's a great one. Look at how cool. Oh, good. The cat's here to help. The cat's been deflected again. So let's get a nice good look, because I don't know if all this color will stay. So we'll enjoy it in its original, freshly unwrapped state. So see, this one, I don't feel like I wrapped it any looser, but the iron clearly got inside and did some of that really nice speckling. All right, so we're going on a hunt for maple leaves, I guess, because that one's epic. Very cool. And then this one, God only knows. I don't even remember what I put in it. What did I put in that? Don't know. Could be a pepper tree. I think there's at least 2 pepper trees. I just wanted to see if they would print, to be honest. Alrighty, last one before we go wash everybody. Okay, my little plastic wrapper, very well stucked. Okay, well, we've got color. Did it print? Kind of. We're upside down right now. These unroll however they want. Okay, let's see. Sort of. There's definitely some printing happening. But again, I think I may have just tied it too darn tightly. They say tie it tightly. How weak are these people tying things? I don't feel like I'm that strong anymore. I just tie things too tightly, I guess. But it still made some pretty fun prints. Strange that it went through to the other side. I remain baffled and fascinated. I'm going to launder these and I will check back in with you. Okay, starting the tour on the dirty dye pot. These are not dry, so we will check in on them one more time before we finish this experiment. I wanted to note that I think a lot of this can be explained by me tying things too tightly again. There are reactions and leaf prints happening on every single one. And even though it's not what we expected, I mean, what could we expect? We've never done this before. It's not a process meant for this. Like, don't have expectations. I expect to get color changes, and that's all I ever expect. So this one was, not shockingly, mordanted in only oak gall resin, which is known to make the strongest reaction with iron. So that has made us our own black fabric. And this is kind of the natural color of the fabric. So the grasses gave it no color. So note to self, no grasses needed. Oh, that one looks like a weird little dog thing. No, it's a ghost. Anyway, we did get prints. You can see the little leafy leaf shapes, and you can see the swishes, like right here is really nice. We got the swishes of the foxtails. So that one is surprising. The next one was eucalyptus on loquat. And what I think happened here, one, wrapped it too tightly. Two, I think that just the density of the, no, this is pepper tree. This is pepper tree, because I remember that this white stuff is like, it was pollen from the flowers, but it acted like wax resist. So note to self, you can try painting things on pollens if they don't make you sick. But this was pepper tree. So pepper tree, not a great printer. There's a couple where you can just see like a little shadow of a ghost of a flower. But again, that might be more due to my inability to wrap things without being violent to them, apparently. The next one, I believe, is eucalyptus on loquat, yes. And you can see these like really weird, highlighty kind of greens you get out of that newish, newborn eucalyptus leaf. You can see we got some good printing, but again, I think it was just already too embedded with tannins to take too much more. So noted on that, but I do think that the loquat bath made a good tannin bath. This one is loquat on loquat. What we did get was like a really, really beautiful mottled, almost like pale lilac-y gray. And it's got a lot of pattern to it, but none of our leaf prints stayed. And I'm not shocked about that. I think there's just too much loquat to loquat. The next one was pepper tree on alum triformate and Kona cotton. It's one of the fancy cottons. And if I hadn't wrapped it so tightly, I think I would have actually gotten a good print. What I think is interesting is that it didn't take on any dye color whatsoever from the loquats, which I find very odd. But it did in fact print around it. So this bears further exploration with the pepper tree leaves. They did not go well on the less fine fabric, but they do say that the finer the fabric you use, the better luck you'll have. But I do enjoy all those little iron speckledy bits. And then here is the pièce de résistance. It's oak gall alum on the fancy cotton. So the oak galls obviously reacted very heavily with the iron, again, like the very first one that turned black. But there's so many little shadows of the maple leaves in here. There's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. And it's got the whole stem in it. There's one, there's one, there's one. Look at how great that came out. It's got the whole little weird loopy curve I shoved in there. And the branches. We did a good job. This was great data collection. And we have checked off the dirty dye pot from the types of dyeing you can try. And nobody died in my kitchen. So onward and upward to the next great thing, and I will show you these when they're all dry from hanging, and we'll be done. Alrighty, let's review our leaf prints from yesterday. These are the ones that I did onto loquat mordanted fabric. You can see that we did get prints, which makes me hopeful that maybe the rest of my loquat mordanted fabric will not be so bad. It just needs to use a dye blanket. So I'm going to try iron dye blankets today. And then we have this one, which was the pepper tree. And you can see we did get some prints in there. But I think the main issue is that the iron could not get to the leaves or to the center of the fabric to react, because where the iron did reach, we do in fact have prints. All right, so that was the loquat based ones. This was our oak gall mordanted one, and you can see that it reacts really, really strongly with the iron bath to create very dark true grays, and you can actually get true black from walnut or from oak gall tannins. You can also get it from walnut holes. You can see where the grasses kind of left some really fun printing edges in here. But again, I think it just couldn't reach the middle, and I think grasses might not be the best thing to print with. So lesson learned on that one. But I do really like the texture, and I don't know that I could recreate that if I tried. So I'm pretty happy. This was our fancy prancy cotton that I ordered. I mordanted it with loquat, and then I put loquat leaves as the blocker. And I think it just, this one had too strong of a reaction in general to the whole process. So this one kind of blanked it out. But if you look at it on edge, there are actually a couple, there it is. You can see the little hint of a leaf print there from the loquat leaf. There's its rib going down the center. That's not actually a wrinkle. That's a shadow of the leaf. So that was a big old leaf print right there. But I think that one, we just should probably have not done loquat on loquat. And I don't think that the pretty cotton could handle the rage of our dirty dye pot. Now this is our fancy cotton with, I believe this was, it was alum only, I believe, or triformate, but either way, you can see where the iron penetrated, we did get prints. So it's a matter of wrapping, and I am beginning to see why eco printers use dye blankets more than any other thing to get really crispy prints. So I think these all can be revisited with some dye blankets and steaming. Here is the definite prize of the day, our maple leaf one, which again, if I had gotten better iron penetration into the middle of the fabric, I think the prints would be even better. So this really fine leafy stuff, I think will do better on the really fine woven fabric. So I'm going to stick to that. Lesson learned there. And I think that iron dye blankets are going to be the way to go. But this one came out so fun. You can see some of the crinkle lines from the wrapping. There's some really beautiful little ghosts of the plant that we used. Anyway, that was Eco Print test number 2. We are ready to go for test number 3, and I think it will be iron blankets, because I think that we can do this, and I think that we can get this just right, because we want more of this. And we can do it. All right, see you in the next data collection. If you would be so kind to like and subscribe. I thank my patrons who keep me going through all this. And I hope you'll continue to support me as we do these wacky experiments together. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next experiment. Bye!